to my channel. I know it has been a very, very long hiatus, and for that, I do apologize, but I'm back. I'm hoping to be doing this daily. What are we doing? It's an excellent question. We are doing a podcast. As you can probably tell by the title, I apologize for going on my glasses. I'm recording my computer. I don't know how I'm going to continue to record this podcast. It's going to evolve, but my goal is to do it daily. I want to do a daily podcast. I should also say my throat's been going a little bit scratchy. I've been battling a cold the last couple weeks. Finally starting to get over that, so that's why I'm kind of talking a little bit closer to the microphone and doing so in a little bit more of a monotone voice. My voice is probably always pretty monotone. You may have realized that on radio. But anyway, this is episode 1. Sports. You already know the drill. We're doing daily, 15 minutes. Why not? Something I've thought about for a long time. Wanted to try, wanted to do. We're going to get it going. Finally, we're going to get it going. This is the best way to go about it right now. So I thank you. Thank you for joining. This inaugural edition as the journey, well and truly, begins. And as always, if you like what you hear, please like, comment, subscribe. It helps me out tremendously. Because I'm really trying to get this career going. I'm really trying to get this platform going. So I so greatly appreciate all of the support in that regard. It's going to be a little more casual than maybe some of the other videos, which I'm hoping to get going on a more consistent basis here soon. How soon, time will tell. Probably very soon. But what and how, I'm not sure. I'm trying to do that for a little while. I've had run into issues, a wide range of issues, but we're away and going now. We've got it figured out. Now it's time to move forward. No more past. Just now, just the future, and we're going. Anyway, on with today's podcast topic. The College Football Playoff Committee. They meet, I do believe, the Dallas, Texas area. And last Tuesday night, they released their first ever college football playoff rankings poll. And boy, did it raise a few eyebrows. Cincinnati Bearcats. We'll start at the top. Georgia Bulldogs, number 1. Not shocker. As a matter of fact, I don't know of any sane person that would argue that, or would argue against it, rather. So Georgia's number 1. I mean, why would you dispute that? Number 2 is Alabama. And for once, seemingly for once, we actually have some questions about that. I don't know what I think about them being number 2. Top 4, yeah. 2. Then we go to number 3. Number 3, Michigan State Spartans. We saw about that. More on that in a moment. Number 4, the Oregon Ducks. Fair, probably. Number 5, from right here in the upper Midwest, Big Ten country, the Ohio State Buckeyes. 5? But they're not what the topic is. Those of you that follow college football know we're not having this discussion for anybody else but number 6 is the Cincinnati. By the way, I'm just moving around. It's not a conventional video. I can do that. It's not about the cinematic aspect. It's a podcast. I don't even know how long we'll record it with a camera, but I like this for right now. The Cincinnati Bearcats, folks, are number 6. Riddle me this, College Football Playoff Committee, if you will. A team that has not lost a game in almost 2 years is only good enough for number 6 in the country. I don't even know if that camera got all 6 fingers, but anyway, I'll have 6. The 6th best team in the United States of America hasn't lost a competitive game in close to 2 seasons. And that's only good enough for number 6. And that is the topic of discussion today. How do you keep a team that wins consistently? How do you keep them down? And the honest answer, as I think we found out, is that, well, you don't exactly, strategize if you're the opponent. You don't exactly just play better, prepare. Helps. Helped Tulsa, they play pretty well against Cincinnati. But I guess what it takes now is, well, the powers that be have to just decide they don't want you there. And this isn't me putting on the tinfoil hat or anything like that. It's not about conspiracy theories, but it's just a fact. It's ridiculous. And this is what's ridiculous about it. Michigan State loses to Purdue and West Lafayette. That's seemingly been a stumbling block of a team. The Buckeyes, we'll see if they beat Purdue this weekend. Oregon held their own against Washington. Alabama tested against LSU. They won, though. Oregon won. Ohio State won. And I'm not trying to dog Michigan State or anybody else for that matter. But you tell me, put Michigan State on the field of Cincinnati. You really think they run them out of the gym, or run them off the field, rather? Do you think that Ohio State does it, that Oregon does it? No, they don't. Do they win? Hey, could go either way. Probably do. But do they annihilate them, as some have suggested? So blasphemously suggested? No, they don't. Not even close. Unless Cincinnati just really has an off day, that won't happen. But yet the College Football Playoff Committee seems to think that it will. And they're trying to play the role of overprotective parent, I suppose, and try to make sure that we don't have to witness something like that. But the point of this playoff is to reward teams in a way the BCS couldn't. Have only 2 teams compete for a national championship, and it's really all based on some random computer logic that we still don't really understand all these years later. But even more confusing is, what's the criteria for this playoff? And I know that there are people in Columbus that are saying, well, where were you a couple years ago when Alabama didn't play in a conference championship game, got in there ahead of us when we were Big Ten champions? And I understand. And I agree when people are angry. And they sit here, they say, and it's true, when did winning stop mattering? When did winning become so irrelevant? Now it's about the name. Now it's about your stadium size. Now it's about your university size, the size of your alumni base, and your marketability, your profitability. And that's ridiculous. That's not what sports are about. That's not what college football is about. Cincinnati deserves to be in the top 4. I don't know if they'll finish that way. The American Athletic Conference, pretty good. Houston, good. SMU, they've lost their last 2, but they're good. But why devalue winning? Punish a team that, aside from their bowl game, which I forgot about mentioning, that they lost their bowl game. But aside from that, they've not lost in almost 2 years. And that's a punishable offense, I suppose, by that logic? It's ridiculous. I, I simply don't get it. And, and I would just like for an explanation now. Because consistency is key. What's the criteria for this anymore? Do you have to win? Is it strength of schedule? Is it conference championship game? Because you can't say Cincinnati is out on the strength of schedule argument. They beat a team that you put at number 10 last week on their home field. Beat them earlier in the year. Notre Dame probably won't be in the playoff conversation this year because of Cincinnati. And apparently they don't qualify when it comes to strength of schedule. In terms of good teams, who's Alabama beaten? I mean, they lost to Texas A&M. Who did Michigan State beat prior to Michigan? They had the Michigan win. Who they beat? Now, of course, you can't say the same thing about Oregon. Penn State's struggling. They haven't been as good the second half of the season. So beyond Penn State, who's Ohio State beaten? Good thing we have a comment section because I may need some help figuring out what legitimate teams those teams have beaten. I mean, I understand. I don't get why Notre Dame is given the ranking and the precedence that they have every year. But apparently they're a top 10 team that lost on their home field to Cincinnati. So to not consider Cincinnati at this point, which I know they're being considered, they'll probably go up to number 5 after Michigan State lost. At least they should. I probably should pump the brakes right there because they should have been in the top 4 anyway. Last week, they should have been that top 4. So how are you even going to judge us anymore? I don't know. But they need to figure something out. Clearly, it's either time to give everybody a full, well-defined list or any sort of criteria for this. Because we don't know. We don't know what we have to do. And right now, it's looking like certain teams in the Big Ten, the ACC, Notre Dame being independent, maybe BYU, the Big 12, the SEC, and the Pac 12 have a birthright to be playoff contenders, while the other 5 conferences do not. And the other FBS independent teams, bar Notre Dame, and again, 50-50, maybe BYU, do not. And supposedly the system is about bringing transparency. How? How has it brought transparency to all this? How has it been remotely fair? UCF didn't lose in about 2 years. They barely warranted consideration. We had 3 group of 5 teams that were undefeated late into the year last year. They barely got a look. Any of them. Cincinnati was amongst those. So the future really of college football is at stake these next couple weeks. I'm not saying it'll be calamitous, but it could be bad to not put Cincinnati in. If Cincy runs the table. Cincinnati, you better not screw this up for me now as I've gone out here onto the soapbox and come to your defense. Now you got to do it. Now you got to run the table. It's that simple. But if they do, 12-0, then 13-0 and American Athletic Conference champions, how can you leave them out? If you do, then the criteria is just a joke. In all honesty, it is. And it's not sour grapes. It's coming from the fact that now you will have sent the message. Half the teams of the 130 in FBS cannot compete for a national championship. It's not even realistically can't compete anymore. It's will not be given the opportunity, and that's unacceptable. So, College Football Playoff Committee, go ahead. Show us, tell us what needs to be done now. And if you can't come up with anything, then here's an idea for you. Expand the college football playoff to include more teams. So that's my take for today. Hope you all enjoyed that. I won't be on my soapbox all the time. Not all the time. But probably a lot. Because that's the point of this. So this is just the beginning of this new exciting venture. And I look forward to what the days ahead hold. As episode 1 concludes. I'll see you tomorrow for episode 2. Thank you. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you.